this is Graham, also known as a Collector 75, and welcome back to, oh my god, what is it? Transformers Marvel UK G1 Comics Review Part 21, I believe. Right, so we're kicking off straight away with the 1988 annual, I believe that's what it was called. I can never remember whether you were supposed to use the forward year or the previous year. But there we go, I've looked in the thing when it was published. It was published in 1988, so we're sticking with that. Anyway, right, so there is a great cover with Scorponok there. I do like that. That's one of my favourite pictures of Scorponok, that one, believe it or not. Right, so we open it straight up with a nice inlay cover there of Hot Rod and Highbrow, surrounded by loads of different Decepticons, which is always cool. And it was the pricely sum of £3.95. We go to the contents page. We've got a nice picture of Shockwave there, nice Firecons, safeguard your annual from the Firecons, and we have my name and where I used to live. That address has since been demolished, so it doesn't really matter about showing that. Anyway, yeah, used to live there for quite a while. Anyway, right. So here we are with what we're going to find first. This is the Transformers, the story so far. Now I believe this is the guy out of the second annual with this story so far in that one. I can never remember the guy's name. I think his name's Adam something, where he's on his own ZX81 or whatever, and he hacks into the Decepticon computer and it gives him a rundown of what's been going on. Blah 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 blah. This time he goes and finds the remnants of where the Ark used to be and stuff like that, and looks at what's been going on since then. You know, it's just a story so far, really, nothing too much really. Does end when it's never, as far as I know, it never ever got any further than this, but he goes and it just tells the story of the headmasters and everything, and it said engineered and to become the head of Fortress Maximus, and then he goes, now there's an idea, thought Adam. He learned all there was to know about the Transformers. Perhaps the next step was to become a Transformer, a headmaster. He wondered idly if he could use this machinery to contact the Autobot headmasters. Never heard of again, so obviously that didn't go down too well. And then we come to the first story that ties directly into Time Wars coming up soon, probably in part 22, which is Altered Image, which features the first ever showdown between Megatron and Galvatron. Megatron here been fed information by Shockwave and been told Galvatron's location, and is hopefully, according to Shockwave, Megatron is going to destroy Galvatron, but he doesn't. And it just turns up here, blah, blah, blah. Galvatron, tell me there's some sick joke. Tell me it's all lies, all lies. And he's basically saying, nope, it's true. In the future, you're going to be destroyed, and then you're going to become me. And he says, no, I don't believe this. No, not at all. And he attacks Galvatron. And Galvatron really just wants Megatron here to team up with him. They do have a nice fisticuffs, which I did like. I can't remember who drew this story now. Who drew this? Does it say? Lee Sullivan. Yeah, I thought it was someone good. And then basically it just, I can't remember how it ends, it just sort of ends, basically saying, he goes, something about what you would have done to Starscream, and he says, well, what would you have done? And he laughs, because he knows what he would have done. And he says, you know something, Galvatron, we may not be the same person, but we do think alike. Perhaps we should pool our resources. And Galvatron says, my thoughts exactly, because obviously that's leading into Time Wars coming up soon. We got some more Transformers A to Z's there, another tech story, Prime Bomb, which I think they sort of plant a bomb on Optimus Prime, and the Autobot Power Masters have to try and do something or other. Yeah, not a great story from what I remember. We have the Transformers Puzzle Pathway, which is pretty good. Another one, All in the Mines. I know this one leads into Time Wars as well, because at the end of the story, I can't remember. I know Highbrow ends up with Scorponok's head. It's something to do with that they try brainwashing Highbrow, but it doesn't brainwash Gort. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, something like that. So he's brainwashed him there, and he can't remember. They're trying to get him to attack the other Autobots, usual sort of stuff, and they transform into their little head people, whatever they're called, Nebulans, and it doesn't work. And he's hoping that when he recombines with him, he'll remember, but he doesn't. But he does nick his head, and then walks off with it. And then that leads directly into Time Wars as well. Now, a nice little mini poster there. More A to Z, more Tex story, which I'm not that bothered about. And then we come to a good little story written by Richard Allen. I've never heard of him before. Whether that was someone else going under a pseudonym name or whatever they call it, I don't know. But this one is called Peace, and this is set in the far future in the year 2510. And finally the Autobots have defeated the Decepticons, and it says, yeah, that's it, the last Decepticon has fallen, and they gather like a big meeting. And we have this Autobot here, and he says, no, I don't believe it. And he's actually a Decepticon double agent, so he says, the last Decepticon hasn't fallen, it's me. And then he sows the seeds of deceit amongst the Autobots, who's saying, because I believe Rodimus Prime is going to step down and pass the Matrix to Springer. And Triton says, no, that's not right. He goes, Ultra Magnus should have it. He carried it before Rodimus Prime, so he should have it. And then you've got some Autobots siding saying he's right, and other Autobots saying he's not. And then before you know it, for some reason, one of the Autobots beats up on Triton, and some of the Autobots don't like it. And suddenly, Scattershot decides to shoot Roadbuster in the head. God knows why. I don't know what prompted that, but he did. And some of the, like I say, it's just some take sides, destroys Triton, and that's it for the other ones. And then they take sides all over again. And it says, everyone will remember this day, because this is the day the last Decepticon fell and the war began again. Which is pretty cool, because it just maybe shows that after centuries and thousands of years of fighting, that's all they know, and that's all they'll go back to. And that is the end of the annual. Probably not one of the best annuals, but a couple of good stories in that. Alright, so now we carry on with the comics. We're going to go from issue 190 all the way up to 198, I believe. So this cover here is dated, let me try and get this in the right bloody picture. This is cover dated the 5th of November 1988 and is number 190 and still cost 35p. Nice picture there. I think that was taken from the American cover. I could be wrong. Probably not actually, I'm not sure. You can usually tell if it's got the little dots in it. It depends how it's been coloured. No, that looks like it's probably a British cover. And this is a pretty damn dull story, I can tell you. It's about where Skullgrim becomes a movie star. That's right, that was always going to happen. I'm not even going to bother saying it, it's really bad. Now, this is where you could tell the comic was slightly in decline, because, I don't know if I mentioned it in my last review, the paper started to change from really nice glossy paper to becoming really matte and sort of thicker and coarser. And you could sort of tell that the quality had started to slip a little, probably obviously due to costs and everything. You know, and we've got more visionaries here, so it's a bit of a shame. Obviously the first page, well definitely the cover, and maybe the first 2 pages are definitely that old glossy type paper, but the others are unfortunately not. A nice advert for Action Force there, International Hero. Right, so we're going to move on to the next issue, which is issue 191. Another British cover, probably. I cannot remember the American cover offhand, to be honest. Sometimes they never used to use the American cover if they believed, obviously, probably it just wasn't up to much, maybe, I don't know. But it's not a bad cover, that one. And the story here, obviously, there he is, being made up. I do believe they're going to pay him in fuel or something like that. That's why he's doing it. Yeah, until the Autobots find out. And oh no, Circuit Breaker turns up. Of course she does. To ruin things, of course. And that is it. Yeah, a really bad story. A really, really bad story. And we've got Death's Head in his own comic at last. I do believe I did do a special feature on Death's Head a few parts ago. Some more Dread Tidings, still calling him Grimlock. And Action Force is back as the backup strip. Again, could never get into Action Force, never a big one on that. Yes, yeah, never a big one on that one. So we've got more classifieds, and next we've got the Z Sanction and Combat Colin. And an advert for the Pretenders. Never had a Pretender as a kid. Actually, no, I had some of the smaller ones. I'll tell a lie there. And then here we go with another American story. This is, I have no idea why, some of the Decepticons, including Lord Zarek, pose as humans and then get other humans to go after some Transformers using a few bits of their technology, and then they find out they're actually being duped, and so they basically turn on Zarek and all the other ones keep the gear, and then thought, that's it, we're back in business as the Road Jammers, or whatever they're called. That sums up the entire parts 1 and parts 2 of this story, so I'm not going to go into any more of that. It's quite a good concept. I like to look at this fella, and this one as well. He's quite funny. I don't know. Oh dear. Look at these two. I don't know. These are the Road Jammers anyway. Yeah, so they release some Autobots from Cybertron, and then they're going to hunt them down. To what end? I don't know what they were exactly thinking, why they were going to do that. I don't know, but they do. Yeah, I think they were definitely running out of ideas on the old American one there. More Dread Tidings. Yes, there we go. What else have we got? Oh, don't miss the Doctor Who anniversary special there. 25 years of adventure. Wow, what's it up to now? So this is 25 years ago this comic came out, because obviously, I think it was a couple of years ago, we had the 50th anniversary of Doctor Who. Wow, so it's like 25 years old, this comic. Wow, look at that, would you believe it? More Action Force. And who we have here coming up at the end page. Some of these comics are so old, these comics. We got Combat Colin here. I did like Combat Colin. Definitely got better as time went by. We're going to move on to issue 193. Again, I'm not going to spend too much on the storyline of this one because I basically said it all. I wish they'd get rid of this transformation page. I hate it. Cash and Carnage Part 2. Yeah, this is where obviously the Road Jammers take on the Sparkler mini-bots. Didn't use Guzzle, probably because he turned into a tank and could just blow them up. And here we go, this is where they find out he's actually a Decepticon, blah blah blah, and then they attack Scorponok. They managed to use their things to radio control all the other Decepticons, which, you know. Here we go, and from examining the old Jammers, I learned how to build this new one. And once it's done, the Road Jammers are back in business. We'll never hear from them again. It was a shame, really, that would be pretty cool. Now we've got Weetabix, now with Extraterrestrial. Wow, look at that. Sticker sheet of E.T., even though E.T. came out, was it 1981 or something like that? 79. It's quite a while ago. And they've never made a sequel. Good job and all. Because I hate that fucking film. Anyway, right, so, Dread Tidings, yes. And a stock exchange. Let's see what someone wants. We wanted Ravage, good condition, all weapons, swap Run Amok. Probably keep my Ravage. Wanted Frenzy, swap Drag Strip. Probably keep my Frenzy on that one. Wanted Gnaw, Sharktacon, swap Ramjet and Perceptor. That's quite a good deal. We have an advert there for the Target Masters. I did like that. And we go on. And let's move on now. We have who we got coming up next issue. I never get there. The Seacons. Next storyline of the American strip. Now, this is where, from what I remember, the Americans tried doing their own sort of like epic sort of thing, which for me was a bit dull. This is called ClubCon. This is where the Decepticons, if we go through it, basically have their island paradise, sort of that, and they use Buster, is it Buster or Spike Wiki, as the so-called king, keeping anybody else away, because then it's a sovereign nation and stuff like that. Even though the Decepticons are actually looking for an old pirate ship that had some Autobot cassettes on it that have some information about an object that is going to be passing by Earth pretty damn soon. That is basically that. We've got the Seacons under here looking for it, and such. And so then we have Death's Head there. Dread Tidings. Not actually much going on in this comic other than these, really. There used to be some fun things, but... Oh, there you go. We've got action-packed videos. Remember I had that one. Return of Optimus Prime, I had that. And the Headmasters, and that one as well. Never collected none of the Doctor Who stuff. Not really. I do have some of the new stuff, but not much. The old stuff is really dodgy. So we go on. Let's forget about that bit. And here we go. Next issue is this one says Tape Scrape, and obviously where she's got Blaster on the island without no one noticing. We have, oh God, I can't turn these pages today. Rat Bat. I think, have they found these cassettes yet? Nope. But now Blaster's turned up, and so they're having a pot shots at him. Now everybody's leaving because of all of it, and Starscream Plan, all nice guy. You know, you've had reports of all these Decepticons terrorising Earth. I know, let's take a bloody holiday there. You know, I didn't get it. I didn't get what they meant. Yeah, I'm not going to say nothing. A nice advert for the new comic of Death's Head here. I quite like that. That was always a fun one. We've got Action Force bringing up the rear. And what else we got here? We've got Classifieds, Combat Colin. And this is where it's going to tell the story of Boltax. So we have Return of Optimus Prime here. Here we are, Buster Witwicky. He is going to spy on these tapes that they have, which were Eject and... was it Eject and Rewind? Or was it Slam Dance and Grand Slam? Whatever their names were. They've got them. They're going to play the information back now. It just says that Optimus Prime went looking for information in the Tower of Boltax or someone using the underbase, which is kind of what they used as a basis for the Allspark back in the Transformers movies. It's just a source of information that if you absorb too much, you become crazy and probably will blow up. Optimus Prime was going to do it, but then got pushed out of the way by someone else, and now knows all that gubbins. So he didn't in the end, and that's basically it. Spike Witwicky is going to overhear it. They find out about that he's overheard it, and then to try and dispose of him. Yes. So here we are, Blast from the Past, and now see there's Boltax and Optimus Prime. Megatron here sneaking up because he wants the underbase for himself. Optimus Prime being a bit. This is obviously when he was still a new leader and a bit not as knowledgeable as he is. Destroys him. The Autobots, the Decepticons attack. I like that. That looks pretty good, doesn't it? And I do like that picture there. That's it. I can't remember what happened to Optimus Prime there. So he's, do you know what? Let's not bother. But he sent the underbase out into space there, thus making sure Megatron could never get his hands on it. And Optimus Prime then realises that he shouldn't have that much power anyway. Now they know that the coordinates are set, and it's going to be passing by Earth very, very soon. And this is where they've just found out that Buster has been spying on them and can't afford to give the information to the Autobots. Here we have Dread Tidings and more Action Force and an advert for on the back. 1 second, let's get to it. It's comic time. For the Action Force, the official collector card album. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Like that. Wonder if anybody out there actually bought that at the time. Now is the last issue on for this review. We have a British story because it's Christmas. And it's kind of the Power Masters meeting the Triple Changers and mistaking each other for, I don't know, enemies. And here we have Autobots. I do like this. I can't remember, is this written by? It is written by. Oh no, it's not written by Simon Furman. The plot is by Simon Furman with a script by Ian Rimmer. And I did like this because it's called Cold Comfort and Joy. We have Optimus Prime back on Earth, and he's saying this, I would have once gladly risked my life to save this world and its inhabitants, but that was long ago, before my death. Because did my time as a computer character and my subsequent rebirth on Nebulous as a Power Master change me so drastically? Because right now, I can't ever imagine what I saw in this place. And he's just sort of going for a crisis of, what's the point? He just doesn't understand. We should have just used all our time to crush the Decepticons and return to Cybertron. And then at the end he realises that obviously he brought this war to there, so it's his responsibility. What happens on this planet is down to him. That's why he can't just crush them and not worry about the humans, because it's on his head. And yeah, so obviously these guys just mistakenly, and then they figure out they're actually all friends. And then we have the next issue, which is Time Wars, right in the middle of the American epic, which was whatever that one was, what that was called. The Underbase Saga, which was a bit strange. I don't know why they always put it right in the middle, and that was always a bit strange. But they did. Maybe it's because they were running out of time to actually get it in, I don't know. So we've got 25 sets of annuals to 1 free. If you can tell who those 3 characters are, I think I've got them already. Yes. So we've got Action Force, Jungle Moves. And there we are. Next week, Unleash the Apocalypse. It's Time Wars. And this wraps up all of the elements right from Target 2006 back in issue 78 or roughly, or whenever that was. So we've had nearly 2 years of storylines, you know, sort of like in and out of the UK continuity, and it builds up right to this point now, because this is now, the comic was slightly in decline sales wise, and they thought, well, this is it, we've got to wrap this up, because if it does get cancelled, we want to make sure that it's all tied up, wrapped up. And after this, though, I think the editorial team actually said to them, you can't have any long mega epics anymore. So you just got to limit it down to maybe 1 or 2, maybe 4 issues, and that's it for any particular storyline, because I think it was under the threat of the axe might fall at any time for this comic, which was a crying shame, because some of these stories, and especially some of the ones coming up, were actually fantastic, and it showed, even when the comic went from 12 pages, or whatever it was, 11 pages, an issue, right down to about 5, that they could still tell amazing stories. But that's for the future and subsequent parts, because that's the end of part 21. And this has been Graham, the Collector 75. I shall see you all next time. Bye for now.